All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're talking about the red-hot Cincinnati Bengals, led by the legend himself, Jake Browning. 3 straight victories. Minnesota, Indianapolis, the Jacksonville Jaguars. What do all 3 of those teams have in common? Well, I'll tell it to you. They're all playoff teams. This team, and guys, every single person wrote them off. Outside of the Bengals fan base, the Bengals team, everybody counted this team out and wrote them off when Joe Burrow got injured. And if I were to tell you, anybody, that you would lose your starting quarterback MVP candidate in Joe Burrow early on in the season, and with 3 games left on the season, you would be 8-6, pretty much everybody would be like, that's insane. This team is so talented offensively, defensively, coaching staff, Coach Zach, Coach Lou. These guys are geniuses. They are brilliant. And this team just genuinely plays such smart football situationally. This is one of the best of the best. And we know this. Bengals fans clearly know this. They've had 2 stellar seasons. They've had it's weird, man. They have extremely difficult schedules for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. I started covering the Bengals, on a consistent basis last year, and I noticed immediately how disrespected and how undercovered and underappreciated this entire franchise is last year. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals were one of the best teams in the National Football League last year, and it felt like nobody really talked about them, and nobody even really talked about Joe Burrow. All right, but Jake Browning is in town, and this dude is putting on a masterclass performance. So he had his first kind of iffy game in the first half against Minnesota last Saturday. Bounced back 184 yards, 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and overtime. This dude can play. All right, now before we talk about this team any further, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Bengals fans, if we try and get this video to 250 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So you got a big time matchup this upcoming Saturday on the road against Mason Rudolph and the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a divisional game, so it's going to be a very hard fought game, as every Bengals Steelers game is. And what I've noticed with the injury of Joe Burrow is Coach Zach has done really a phenomenal job just kind of simplifying everything. I feel like sometimes with the Cincinnati Bengals, it's not as if they were too reliant on Joe Burrow, because when you have a player like Joe Burrow, who's a top quarterback in the National Football League, he's going to do his thing. He's just a baller. He's going to do his thing. He's a game changer. He's one of the best in this league. But I got a comment on my last Bengals video, and it was the quote of, sometimes you have to slow down to go faster. And I really just think simplifying everything, and you have to utilize everybody. When you lose a player like Joe Burrow, you have to utilize everything. You have to. And this team has done exactly that. We're seeing it week to week to week right now. This team is as slept on as possible. Now, they do have some things that aren't going their favor, right? Like, Reader just got injured. He's done for the season. That absolutely sucks. I still think, the running back situation in the future, I'm curious what the deal is going to be with Mixon in this offseason. They need to get a tight end. Losing Hayden Hurst was absolutely devastating, but guys have really stepped up just performance-wise. They are doing what they need to do every single week. So here we go. Jake Browning. Now, if you watch college football, Jake Browning can play. All right, he got the University of Washington football team into the playoffs. This guy can process the game, and always has been, at a very high level. High school, he was amazing. College, he was amazing. And he didn't really get a fair opportunity in the National Football League until Joe Burrow got injured. And he has really risen to the occasion. And I got to say, how unified this team is, they have so much fun, and it's with Joe Burrow, it's with Jake Browning, it's with whoever literally is. The last 3 seasons, this is the definition of a team. And especially in today's era, I noticed it more so in basketball, I guess because, much smaller roster. You rarely see teams where everybody just gets along. Players, coaching staff, everybody is fully bought into this squad. Now, the last 3 games are going to be huge tests to Jake Browning and this entire team. First off, their offensive line is not doing great. and it's impacting the run game. The Cincinnati Bengals are 31st in the National Football League in rushing yards per game on the season. Joe Mixon, I feel like he is playing well. No Jamar Chase this upcoming Saturday. And most importantly, you have two divisional games, Pittsburgh and Cleveland. And sprinkled in between, you have the third best defense in the Kansas City Chiefs. I need the run game going. I need the offensive line. I need the defensive line. I need guys to just simply step up. But what we have realized about this team, and we knew this, honestly, it's not even really a realization, they do not quit. This team does not quit. Now, 10-7, I think, gets you into the playoffs. But most importantly to me, I mean, man, the way this season started, you lost 24-3 against the Cleveland Browns in week 1. You lost 27-24 against Baltimore in week 2. They were 1-3 after the first month of the season. Joe Burrow gets healthy. They bounce back. They win 4 straight football games. And then you have the Joe Burrow injury. And during that, you lose 3 straight football games. Keeping the momentum going, to me, is absolutely vital, and it's absolutely critical. A lot of teams or a lot of players or whatever would have just thrown in the towel. You know what? Our starting quarterback is done. We're toast. Let's just get healthy for next season. Let's develop our younger talent. Let's get a good draft pick, and we'll reevaluate. We'll continue to build on our weaknesses. We'll continue to build on our strengths in the offseason. No. This team, at no point in the season, whether they were 1-3 with an injured Joe Burrow, whether they lost 3 straight games and lost Joe Burrow for this season, they never gave up, and they never will. So if you take down Pittsburgh, and recurring theme, those are 3 phenomenal defenses. Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Cleveland, those are 3 top 10 defenses right there. If Cincinnati can get into the playoffs, guys, they can hang with anybody. And we've seen it in the last 3 weeks because Jacksonville is one of the best teams in the AFC, despite all the naysayers talking about Trevor Lawrence. The Indianapolis Colts, even with their backup QB, Gardner can certainly play. They won 34-14. And then you had just a really sloppy game, especially in the first half, kept us all on the edges of our seats, and they just won. At the end of the day, victories are all that matters. And when you get into the playoffs, if you make the playoffs, not only do you have as good of a chance as everybody else in the playoffs, but it's just wins. You just need wins. It's not college football. Context does not matter here. And just the way the NFL has been this season, I think I speak for most people watching this video right now, the way the NFL has been all over the board the entire season for pretty much every single football team, every single storyline, you never know. You just really never know. So if Cincinnati can go 11-6, if they can go 10-7 and you make the playoffs, folks, I'm not writing them out. I certainly don't want to play the Cincinnati Bengals even without Joe Burrow if I meet them in the playoffs. So that's it for tonight. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. But most importantly, what does this team finish as? Do they make the playoffs? Let me know down below. As always, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next time.